Awesome, we are already at 35 people. Everyone is on time. Okay, while we're waiting for people to join, maybe like a little more logistics. The panel this session will be recorded. It's actually like live stream on YouTube, and it will be recorded on the LabNet YouTube channel. If you are not able to like watch it completely, or if you know people who wants to, who have a conflict and want to watch it after. There is a Q&A session to ask your question. We will do the Q&A at the end. And if you have like any issues, if you can like ping on the chat, George IEA will be able to like help you out. Awesome, yeah. And the link to the like YouTube live stream is also on in the chat. Cool. Maybe let's give it like one more minute, then we can start with introducing our great panel today. Okay, we're at 48 people. At 50, I will start. Let's see who will be joining. We're at 49. Maybe, let's see, either 50 or at in like a few seconds. It was growing fast until this last person. Okay, awesome. 50. Whoever just joined, thank you. You let us start the panel. It's actually, I just see it's my sister who said I can join with 2 email. Okay, awesome. Welcome, everyone. We are very excited to have you today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We're actually a worldwide panel. We have today great people on the panel, and our guest stars from Anghami, the founders of Anghami, Eli Habib, co-founder of Anghami, and Eddie Maroon, second co-founder and CEO of Anghami. We also have on the panel Rabia Khouri, who is the managing partner of MEVP, and Abdo George Kadifa, who is the managing director at Tomorrow Equity Partner. So thank you, everyone. Very excited. My name is Hala. I will be moderating the panel today. So first, I just wanted to say like big congratulations for Anghami and all the success they have been having so far. We're actually reaching an interesting milestone now as they were going to go IPO soon. And we're very excited to have you today on the LabNet panel. Yeah, Eli, you wanted to say something?
No, I just want to thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, LabNet, for inviting us and giving us the opportunity to talk about Anghami, a small company that started with big dreams and is going to be IPOing mid-June on the NASDAQ. Thank you, Rabia, Abdo, and Hala for managing all that, but also to George to organizing, and to Habib Haddad also to helping all that happen at the beginning. Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. So as you started, actually, like one of the first like question, if you can like let the people know between you and Eddie, how did you guys come up with the idea? What made you believe in Anghami before it even existed? And how did you decide to partner together to create this amazing company?
Let me start from the last question. We've been partners for a long time, right? I've been working with Eddie on different businesses, but since I think 21 or 22 years. So that was like a kind of what are we going to do next kind of thing. And it just started because, you know, we've been bored on the previous business and we're trying to think about something new. And Eddie's into music, has always been into music. So, and he wanted to figure out, I mean, why can't I have my iPod update faster? And because at the time, you know, we needed to pirate music and put in the iPod, and he forgot to, you know, to find music, search and put it. It was too complicated. And again, those were old times. It started in 2010, the discussion. Then it continued mostly over coffee in Starbucks and other shops for the next year, trying to figure out whether we can do it. We were both, you know, loving the idea because it was something new and because it's something that we needed. We were scratching an itch, basically. We never thought how big it's going to be. I mean, it's not like we planned. We wanted for it to be big. The original company that we created was called Think Big. That's the company that came up with Anghami. But again, big for us when the internet was at just the beginning, the mobile internet and mobile apps were at the beginning, 2010, 2011. We definitely had great expectations, but not what happened next. But it's a great problem because we ended up doing something that it wasn't something that we needed as music. It was like something that the Middle East did not have. Remember that it was no iTunes in the region or Apple legal service in the region till in 2015. So roughly 3 years after we launched. So for many people in the Middle East, we came first, which is a good place to be in.
Yes. Thank you so much. Anything else you want to add, Eddie?
Yeah, I'd like to add that Eli and I mean, know each other very well. We're friends, and we've worked with us together like since 20 years. But we also complement each other in terms of background, experiences, even characters, and this helped a lot because you know, the things that I do, Eli trusts me 100%. Likewise, I mean, and this is really important because when you're doing such project, you need someone to lean on and someone you trust and someone you know that can complement you. He can you really kind of do the things you don't do or he's better at. So that's been very instrumental, and being really close helped a lot, especially in the downs because when there's a down, you need your partner around you, and that's been very instrumental. That's why every time someone asks me about starting up something, it's very important to be really two founders, not just one.
Yeah, this is very true. Very inspirational story. And like another maybe question to like Rabia is kind of like first impression, or like as Eli and Eddie were pitching their idea to MEVP, which was also in their early stage. What was the impression like on behalf of MEVP, and what made you believe in them and decide to like really give them the money to start this company?
Thank you, Hala. We at MEVP are privileged to have partnered with Eli and Eddie through this journey. We did their Series A, their seed, their Series A, and anchored their Series B. So it's been a journey since 2012. I usually try not to get stuck on first impressions. There's so much variability in VC. However, one key highlight I remember from our first meeting with Eddie and Eli. First, they're complementary. We like ventures that have two co-founders. The introvert and the extrovert, and you can decide who's the introvert and who's the extrovert. The media guy and the technology guy. This is very important. But also the commitment. I remember in their first meeting, they had just taken a loan on their residences to get the first streaming license from Rotana, which shows a lot of commitment, a lot of guts, a lot of trust in their ability in the future. And back then, it was not clear whether we're going to be here today, knocking on the doors of NASDAQ. So it's been a privilege, guys. Anghami is one of our top companies, and with the good entrepreneurs, actually, life is easy. So we're pretty happy.
Awesome. Yeah, it is a bet that paid off, mortgaging the house. Awesome. So it is really impressive, the growth that Anghami have reached today, like 50 million active user, 1 billion stream a month. So we're really playing in the big league right now. So first, now that you have reached 58 participants, I want to encourage everyone who doesn't have the Anghami app to download the Anghami app to really experience how the content and then how good the app is. I'm guilty to have Spotify, but I actually downloaded Anghami and I have been using it recently, and I feel like from people outside of Lebanon, it's something to experience. So talking about growth, Eli and Eddie, what are the big plans in terms of increasing the user in the MENA region, in terms of penetration, and also outside the MENA region?
Eddie?
So in terms of growth, we believe that MENA still represents a lot of depth. There's a lot to be done in the Middle East because it's still, it's still a very big market and it's underpenetrated. So part of our growth plans is to grow bigger in the Middle East, which is our core market. We also have plans to go into targeting the diaspora. We never invested in the diaspora and believe that this is a market that would be significant for us. It's 100 million people that would be interested to have more content that brings them back to their home, right? It's something that we are planning to do more. And we have plans to go into more emerging markets, given the experiences we had in our emerging markets, in markets like Egypt, Morocco, etc. So we believe that South Asia or Africa would be interesting for us. Now, in other, we believe also there's growth in other verticals. You see us experimenting in producing content, and we'll be producing more content in a more structured way, because we believe there's a lack of content, of Arabic content, and this is a gap we can fill, especially that we have a lot of data, a lot of know-how, and we can push the content we can create. And there's huge demand for Arabic content. We've looked into the numbers. We have 1% of the catalog we have is Arabic only, while this represents 50% of the consumption. This tells you how much demand there is for Arabic music. And we're also going into new verticals that, such as reinventing radio. We believe that radio is something that's been, typical for the past years, but now that with technology we can make it really different. People can have new experiences around radios. Anyone can be a radio host, can have his own radio show, and even interact with fans and have his own audience. This is something that we believe in and we're investing in. Add to this, we are also investing in virtual concerts. This is something that COVID taught us about. People are stuck at their homes, and we started to avail, a platform for artists to create, concerts and monetize and reach out to their fans and audiences. And this is something that we'll be investing more into. So all of these, new verticals and new territories will be areas of growth, but definitely our core will always be investing more in the Middle East and North Africa. This is a region that has 50% of its audience also that are youth, and it has a huge consumption for media and entertainment specifically. And Anghami as a platform can really be the answer for this audience, and this is where we're gonna be investing moving forward.
This is great that you guys are thinking across different media type, and not only just user growth. And Eli, anything else you want to add to complement?
No, honestly, Eddie's told you in terms of growth where we think we're going to grow. This is it. Part of it is on new territories, investing in growing the markets, because we've not invested. What's very important for a lot of people to know is that Anghami has built a music streaming platform not an app, it's a platform which contains much more than what other traditional services have because of the region. So we had to invest in logistics. So we created payment logistics across the Middle East, which is something that other services don't have to create, because, you know, a credit card works pretty well and everybody's banked. So that makes sense. For us, we've invested over the past many years to create a telco network whereby 36 telcos, we hooked into them directly. So we're not using an aggregator. It's, in the Middle East, there isn't something like Twilio or whatever that allows you to do everything with, you know, everybody. There isn't anything like Stripe. Even Stripe just launched, but there isn't something like that because there are multiple credit cards that are local, right? That were not connected to the global debit cards, you know, of or credit card, debit card of Visa and MasterCard. So we had to connect to a lot of them, and that took a lot of time. Mostly, again, the telcos, we connected to 36 directly. So that is a payment investment that Anghami had to do. We also did an investment for artists to allow artists to upload content directly to Anghami. So we have an artist platform because a significant percentage of the Arabic music is self-produced. So there isn't big labels like, you know, Universal, majors, and all of that aren't available, you know, do not invest much in the region. Clearly, right now, they want to invest. So last week, Universal Music said that they're launching Universal Music Arabia in the region, which definitely highlights why content is important and how much is it missing. So we created that platform that allows artists to upload and promote their music and get analytics and know what to do and what type of the content they need to build. And that took a lot of time. We created much more, but what we did not do is invest a lot in marketing. Anghami, since inception, we've raised only $26 million since inception, which is in comparative to any music streaming platform that had to do more in the region, doesn't make sense. It's a very small number. But basically for us was discipline and how we can create all of that and grow without spending much in marketing. Now what we're raising in the IPO is roughly 4 times as much to really spend first on marketing, but then on content, and then on engineering and innovation and R&D. Honestly, we've not spent much on R&D because we did not have money to spend on anything. So right now, this is, you know, it's an exceptional time in our, because we believe that we're able to start something, work hard, but then again, get it to a place that justifies that a company from the Middle East has opportunity. It's hard, it's not easy. When we started, there was like no way to raise money. And it's very hard. Rabia alluded to some of it, but right now there's a lot of opportunities. And the IPO that we're doing right now is also a new innovation type of raising funds, and that is applicable to a company that is prepared. In our case, we obviously were prepared because of the discipline that we were forced to do to build everything and to scale it and to get to that point. So I guess just makes sense.
Awesome. Yeah, congratulations. Like one of the first like Arab Lebanese startup to be listed on the NASDAQ and going IPO. And it's like an interesting way to go IPO. Like you guys like went via the SPAC route. And we have here Abdo on the panel, like an expert in SPAC. If you can maybe give like a quick overview to what is SPAC and why it's becoming like a little more popular as a way to go IPO these days.
Sure, Hala. First, congratulations again, Eli, Eddie, and Rabia. This is tremendous, and you guys are proud. We're very proud of you. For the SPAC situation, I think this is very good news for public investors, for people like all of us who want to invest in very good companies. So what's happening is the market, especially the public markets, have seen in the past some fundamentals that really created the SPAC movement. The first fundamental is a lot of companies that have been public were going private through private equity firms. As a matter of fact, the estimate is about 1/3 of publicly listed tech companies over the last few years have gone from being public companies back to being private companies. The second piece is there is a price valuation difference between public markets and private markets, and that has been increasing through time. So if you can be valued much higher on the public markets than on the private markets. And then the third piece with the way interest rates are right now, there is a significant appetite for investors to invest in equities versus investing in fixed income instruments. So you put the three together, and the SPAC movement has been created. So what the SPAC movement is trying to do is to enable investors, public investors, to have access to good and great companies, and companies like Anghami, so that they're able to invest in them and to get the returns from them. So overall, I'm very bullish on that. Clearly, in the first quarter of this year, the SPAC movement have seen a massive influx of investments, and people are digesting them right now. But overall and fundamentally, this is very good, especially for a great company like Anghami.
Yes.
Can I just add another, just to complement what Abdul said, at least from a Middle Eastern perspective? Anghami should have gone public on our local markets. However, the Middle East is not one country, we're at least 30 countries. Anghami's biggest market from a subscriber basis is Saudi Arabia. Until recently, it was difficult for a content company to go public in Saudi. Also, the listing requirements, the listing infrastructure, the only developed listing markets in our region are in Egypt. And actually, in the whole Arab world, there's only one fintech company, one technology company that's public, a company called Fawry. That tells you also about a dichotomy between our real economy, where digital is growing very quickly, and our public markets that don't really reflect the real economy. Choosing a SPAC for Anghami, working with Eddie and Ali, was not an easy choice. And as Eddie said, at the end of the day, Anghami is going public. You need a company like Anghami that's ready to go public. A SPAC is not something new. Abdul, we used to call them blank check companies, etc. Reverse merger into a public shell in the old days. So for Anghami, this was really the optimal solution. Considering the region, considering we cannot relist easily in the region. So going public through a SPAC is not easy. There's a lot of hype around SPACs, but really large SPACs. Our partners, VMAC, is a $100 million SPAC focused from the beginning to invest in a streaming company in emerging markets. So we're a bit away from the high volatility, all the huffing and puffing happening in the SPAC space. Also, as Abdul said, when Uber went public at $60 billion, in the old days, we used to take companies public when they reached $200 million, So I call SPAC, and I think Abdul's going to find this funny, that it's the revenge of retail investors trying to go back and finding good high growth companies that are not taken over by big PE and big VC. I mean, remember, the Vision Fund, $100 billion, that's sort of the peak of the craziness in terms of keeping things private, when actually the cost of capital, as Abdul said, in the public market is cheaper. So you should be able to achieve higher valuations faster in the public markets. So SPAC is not all hype. It's taken away some capacity from IPOs, as Abdul said. And our SPAC is it's a match made in heaven for Eddie and Ali. So I think we're quite happy here.
Yeah, Rabia, very well said. And again, this is a great opportunity for investors to invest in great companies again. And it's not the investment for the few in the private market. It's in the investments now for the many, many, many in the public market. So it's really democratizing access to investing in a lot of good companies.
Awesome. Thank you so much for this overview. It's I think very helpful for anyone who was not very familiar with that space. And for Anghami particularly, I think the date is like June 2nd, not June, second week of June, to go IPO it will be listed under ANGH. So Eli and Eddie, if you have like more information to share with the people who will be like interested and excited to support you through this IPO and with this great vision that you have like feel free to add more information in the panel.
We honestly, there's a lot that we can talk about. There's some stuff we can't discuss in terms of financial because we're going public, but anything that has been disclosed to the SEC, we can talk about. What's very interesting is that in terms of comparing Anghami to any other streaming platform, even if we just use comparables, Anghami is undervalued, all right? Because that is, everything that is already on disclosed. So we're undervalued because we're at 2.5x forward revenue compared to anybody who's dealing at 4 or 5 or 6. So basically, this is important for us because this implies that we want the upside, right? And this is a company that will grow. One important thing that was not discussed in the previous question, I want to highlight on. We could have done a VC funding, VC round, not an IPO. The why is very important. One, obviously, everything that we mentioned before made sense. But one extra thing is that independence. When we did not have to sell the company because we're a VC funded company. So anyway, we have to exit the VC. Get the VC opportunity to exit because there are multiple VCs, not just MEVP who have invested in us. So by doing that right now, we're allowing the VCs to find a way to exit. At the same time, it provides us independence to keep growing the company, and while us remaining at the helm. This is important. This is not whereby we're selling the company and moving on. No, this is chapter 2. We're simply continuing, getting much more cash, much more work, a bigger vision to continue whatever worked on with our team that we're very grateful for, and we're pushing forward. And that is an opportunity that has not happened to most Middle Eastern companies because the only opportunity has been to get sold to someone else, to be acquired, which is a good thing, but we were not really enamored with that idea. We still wanted to actually try to build more. And for us, this is the great opportunity of continuing and keep on building and having Anghami become a multi-billion-dollar company. And that's what I want to talk about. That's why ANGH makes sense, because we have a lot to do and there's a lot of room. As Eddie mentioned, in terms of Arabic content, it's still very under-penetrated in any way. In the content, the Arabic content, in the growth and the opportunities in the region, we're not competing with another music streaming service. If anybody thinks there's an elephant in the room, we're competing with piracy. We're in the Middle East. A lot of people in the room, from the names that I read, are from the Middle East. You know how piracy is big in the region. And for us, we respect, all the big streaming services, and that just validate what we're working on. But for us, we really want to, we're communicating, we're localizing our app in a different way. If you use Anghami, it's not exactly like other services. Obviously, if you use it right now in the US or other, you'll see it has only Arabic music. In the Middle East, we have 57 million tracks. Thankfully, in the next few months, anybody who's in outside the Middle East will have access to all our catalog also. So we're opening up Anghami to diaspora, to anybody. You can listen to anything, right? And you'll be able to understand the innovations that we worked on, whether from the machine learning or actually from allowing Anghami, allowing people to connect to music and music to people. It's not just to algorithms. We have algorithms and all of that that we used to, but we put in people with the music because from, as far as I remember, we discover music with people, with friends, right? We go to bars, pubs, or maybe living rooms. We discover music through other people, through mixtapes that we used to get on a cassette, then a CD, then an MP3, then a playlist, right? But we discover music through that. So putting people within music and trying to make music streaming service more social makes sense because music was always social. It was just dropped since the Walkman and then the iPod and then whatever came later, whether, Rhapsody or whatever, the famous streaming service, I forgot the name, the original one. But anyway, so all of them drop people, right? Focused on music, and that's great. And when we started, we just wanted to get people to, big search box, listen to whatever you want, but people want to discover the connection, or maybe people from the Middle East are interested with that. So for us, there's a lot of opportunities. Again, building content, building something innovative, and we'd love people to talk about us and to, hopefully buy Anghami. We can't really recommend, we there's a line that we can not cross. But again, we'll be listed between the 2nd and 3rd week of June, and it's going to be under ANGH. And we'd love to have you supporting us, and to believe that, it's a small company in the Middle East that can go big, that went big right now on the IPO, but we can grow significantly bigger. And we'd really love even people over here to spread that we're hiring. We have we're recruiting a lot of people. We'd love to have interesting people join us and, be part of our journey also.
Yeah, this is actually like very
Napster, that's the company I was, yeah. Yeah, thank you, George.
You just had a call with the founder.
Yeah.
So I'd like to add to Ali's point that from a streaming platform, we have a vision to become a media platform. And under the name of Anghami, this is something that's so dear to us, to maintain an Arabic brand that can really, go big and go global. As mentioned, we had a lot of options to exit, or, like any company, or like any leader in a smaller market. But we always wanted to maintain that, that footprint of an Arab media that can really travel the world. And this is so important to us, especially that now, with the way that the evolution of the way we consume media, we consume audio, we consume, be it podcasts, be it audiobooks, be it even, poetry. You can't imagine how much popular poetry is in Gulf, for instance. A lot of things, even the radio thing that we discussed. So a lot of things that can really be under Anghami, not to mention the need for Arabic content. So as a platform, we believe that we have a huge opportunity, but also we have a role that we can play to have something that can be Arab, that can be for our nation, that can be really representative of our culture, not just being, another division in a global company. And being public, this will allow us to, execute this vision and make sure that we can make it happen.
Awesome. And talking about Arabic content, and Ali, you talk about piracy. If I am an artist in the Middle East region, going through Anghami versus posting my music on YouTube, what are the advantages, and how are you guys helping grow the artists in the region to create more content? To Eddie or Eli.
Eddie is better suited to answer this.
So first of all, we support the artists on, one-on-one. First of all, we allow them to upload themselves the content. We give them tools, not necessarily to go through a label or an aggregator or a distributor. So this allows them to have direct communication with us. We work with each artist, no matter how big he is, and to really make sure that we're giving them the right exposure, the right reach to their potential audiences. And we push them, we promote them, and work with them on to creating content, creating branded content in so many ways that they can really reach their potential. And now we're trying to take this to another level by partnering up with governments, with entities that can fund this ecosystem, because those artists have a lot of potential, but they don't have support. They have no one to talk to. And the labels are very small in this region. And they don't really give attention to such, category of artists. So this is where
they are not digital. They're not digital.
The point is not the current, the current crop of artists in the Arab world is limited. We want the new generation, for the new generation to create music, you need to incentivize them. You need to allow them to realize that they can build a career, they can build a life. And, it's not about making ends meet, but it's about growing and creating a sustainable career. So that's why we want to go in down the stream, help them create content, produce music for them, help them, get connected with brands, help them make concerts. So it's not the traditional music service, because we want to contribute to growing the Arabic music. To do that, we need to create new music artists, right? We can't just, with due respect to Fairuz, which is one of the top streamed artists in the region and the Arabic world, and probably worldwide in terms of the Arabic diaspora, but we need much more artists, much more new artists. And to do that, we need to invest in them, because you know why? Nobody's invested in them. And that's why our radio functionality is allowing us to give an opportunity for them to create clubs. Basically, they can create clubs for artists, whereby if you want to participate part of the club, be close to the artist, get to talk to the artist, to have video calls with the artist, to get virtual rewards and stuff like that, and get to listen to the music of the artist before it's been out and all of that. People can create clubs and pay to access clubs and get to provide incentives, which is basically what you'd call money, right? Maybe it's digital money, but eventually it's money for the artist to be able to create a career. And we really wanted to contribute, and we can't do all of that by our own, right? Because we're in music streaming service, but we're creating much more in terms of creating labels and helping produce content with other labels, co-producing, and going out there working with governments and going out there to recruit anybody to create music, because we believe there's going to be another artist, and that other artist is going to be created via digital music. They probably don't know anything else, right? And we want to be part of this. It's very important, and hopefully a lot of you will be part of the journey.
Awesome. Yeah, this Radio 2.0 feature is really connecting the artists to their fans, allowing them to get to know each other, almost like a mini clubhouse while listening to music. And it's very unique in terms of feature that Anghami adds. Talking about the awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Ali, for managing the chat. And talking about also the challenges that you guys went through already in the Middle East. It's more complicated to build any platform. You mentioned that the Twilio or Stripe were not there, and you had to build your own payment method, which we take for granted if you are building the startup in other countries, like in the US. I heard the story that when the SPAC company audited Anghami, they were amazed by the technology behind the recommendation engine and all the AI that the team has built. Ali, can you talk a little more about the technology behind Anghami? If the answer is too long,
I'm the technology guy anyway.
Yeah.
What I'm proud of and what I want to talk about is more than what we've built in terms of the machine learning technology or everything. Everything that was built in Anghami, which is a very complicated platform. Again, as I said, it's similar to all music services you're aware, but we had to do much more as the payment platform, as the artist platform, as the advertising platform. And again, much more than that, and a lot is coming I can't just talk about right now, but everything was built in-house. Everything, nothing was white branded, outsourced, whatever, right? We had a team, today we're roughly around 70 engineers, but we built all of Anghami with a team which is under 50 engineers, which is all of the algorithms and the work and all. It took us, probably a lot of white nights, a lot of hard work, a lot of imbalance in terms of work life and all of that, a lot of things that I don't recommend others to do, because most of it doesn't really scale because people get tired and broken. But we were focused and we persevered. Remember, we've built all of that in Beirut. All of the technology of Anghami was built in Beirut, and with 90% of the people who were at the first job. So basically, when we started Anghami, we couldn't just recruit people out of Google and Facebook and whatever, big companies, right? We're not in Silicon Valley. We're in June. So basically, there were not neighboring big universities or anything. So basically, I mostly recruited people from AUB and taught them, right? It was much easier to tell them stuff, taught them new stuff than actually to get them to unlearn old technologies, because people did not know how to build consumer services, scale, cloud, right? And machine learning, all of that I mean, I can't advertise for anyone that have 2 years experience in any of those anyway. So we created our own academy, and we taught people and got people, interning with us, part-timing, and then heading the company. And right now, a lot of the VPs are people who started as interns, which is unique probably, but which just tells us how much talent we have in Lebanon if you know how to work through it. It's raw talent. It's not, they obviously, in terms of engineering and all of that, we're far behind in terms of universities exporting people who know how to do stuff like we want. But we have great raw talent, and we built all of that. In terms of Arab machine learning, in terms of understanding the Arabic music, clearly we have, tens of billions of plays that go within Egypt or Tunisia or Libya or whatever, all of the Middle Eastern territories, for us to understand what people want. So the machine learning algorithms understand what is the oud, or understand the Arabic tabla or whatever, to know that a person might like this stuff more than that. Because, if you go into deep Arabic music, and if you want to rely on the labels, everything would be called world music or pop, right? Because the labels do not know how to properly tag music. So I had to create machine learning algorithms and a lot of learning from human beings originally, but you can't scale it like that, to be able to really help artists and to tell them that this type of music will probably work based on our recommendations. This type of music probably doesn't work. And we even allow artists to understand that basically there's a lot of people that like their music that are not maybe in the Middle East. Like in a certain case, we got an artist to create concerts in Sweden because we knew that a lot of his core, fans were not in the Middle East, we're outside the Middle East. And that's obviously because, there's a lot of people in the Middle East that are leaving, unfortunately. And like us, right now, we're probably going to talk about that, but we were from we're still from Lebanon. I'm still from Beirut. I'll always going to be from Beirut. Our company is always going to have roots in Beirut. We're going to keep recruiting and growing our office, but we had to move our HQ outside, from Lebanon to UAE a few months ago. But that's still, our academy is still going to go from Beirut. We're still going to be recruiting engineers from Beirut mostly. But obviously, we want diversity because it's important. It's important because right now we can do much more with the machine learning universities that are investing in machine learning in Abu Dhabi. There are a lot of universities that are bringing US professors and Chinese professors, and we really want that diversity for us to be able to grow. But so far, I'm very proud of our team, our very small team, to what it got and where we got and how we're growing. And I think there's still a lot to do.
Awesome. Thank you, Ali. So anyone who's interested in joining Anghami as well, you can maybe share the link. Looks like it's going to be a great company to work for, even more now than before. Maybe last question, and then we can open it up to Q&A. I see we already have 8 questions. Just looking at just Anghami, the Arabic, the pattern of people listening. What did you guys learn? Anything interesting from what type of music is being successful, or maybe the future of Arabic music, if the next big hit song might come up from our region?
Yeah, we always believed that Arabic music has potential to travel the world, and there are two things. First of all, we believe that streaming in general is democratizing the way.
I think Eddie,
like experiment music.
Eddie
We
got
are now
her.
exposed to.
Yeah,
No,
sorry,
you
you
were
cut off for a
disconnected.
second.
Go on, go on.
Yeah, sorry. So now we are exposed to Korean music. We never listened to, you know, K-pop, for instance, or Latin music as much as we do now. So there are things that are changing in the music industry globally, and there's bigger attention now to Arabic music. And you see that, you know, for example, a label like Universal Music is launching a label for Arabic music. Other labels, also majors, are giving a bigger attention to Arabic music. And us as a platform believe that with the amount of data we have and with the know-how and having, you know, people on the ground in every market. It's not that an office in Dubai that is serving the whole region. No, we have people in Riyadh, in Cairo, in Beirut, in every city. This allows us to have the right pulse of the market, so we can really know what the market needs. Add to that the amount of data and how much we can see what's trending, what's not. So we believe that Arabic music in general has a huge potential today, and this the next, you know, big hit for Arabic music in general. This is a big bet, and we believe that Anghami as a platform has a huge role here because we are the platform for Arabic music mostly, and we have a big deal of data, and we understand how the music is evolving, and we see this every day. We've been like, I mean, the kind of music that we used to consume in 5 years back is very different from what's trending now. I mean, hip hop and the new trends in music, we're seeing this in our, you know, data. So this is something that will allow us to grow on top because we'll be part of this evolution and we will help this, you know, music evolution to grow. And if you look at the people that are involved in the evolution of music, for instance, Universal did that with Wasim Sal Slaibi. Sal, which is an Arabic, you know, Lebanese guy who is based out of LA. He's the head of the manager of The Weeknd, French Montana, and so many other artists, who is the CEO of Universal Arabic Music. He's also part of our company. He is the head of international at Anghami. And you see that those people that are among the Anghami ecosystem are, you know, contributing to the evolution of Arabic music. And we're very excited and proud to be part of this. And we're really we hope that the next Despacito, you know, gonna come from an Arabic country, and wait for it. And this is gonna be great for music, Arabic music in general, but also for us because we'll be the platform to really grow such kind of
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eji, Eli, Rabia, Abdo, for this amazing panel. Anything like else you want to add? I'm seeing 12 Q&A questions, which we'll try to go through them, but giving the chance to add anything else before we attack the questions.
I would like to also, you know, thank our partners in the journey with Anghami. So MVP was instrumental, at least from a funding perspective, very early on, and we were instrumental in the whole SPAC process. However, Anghami benefited from the patronage and partnership with the NBC Group, the largest media group in the region. Also, Mobile Ventures, part of Mobile in Saudi Arabia, the second largest mobile carrier there. Samina Capital, a leading Middle East and South Asia investor who came in with us. Do Telecom, the number 2 telecom provider in the UAE. Even the Catalyst, the Endeavor Catalyst Fund invested in Anghami. Eli and Eddie are both Endeavor entrepreneurs. And also, and we didn't have a chance to discuss that, as part of SPAC, you always raise a pipe. This is very important to cover redemptions. We have our partner, Shua Capital out of the UAE, who has led in underwriting of the pipe. On announcement, we had $40 million underwritten, which is a very strong message about the strength of the Anghami after the merger, irrespective of what happens in the redemptions. Anghami, Shua underwrote 30 million, and our partners, Vistas, our partner in the SPAC, also underwrote $10 million. So it took an effort from all these stakeholders to get us to this place. So it's important to thank all of them.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I'm gonna read out the Q&A question, and then we can see who is the right person to answer them. So first question is from Alexander Name. So thank you for this, and congrats to the entire team. We're fans and user of your platform. Thank you, Alexander. So question, was relocating to the headquarters to Abu Dhabi part of the SPAC merger, asking if this merger could have been done if Anghami remained in Beirut while recognizing the fiscal issue facing Lebanon at the moment?
That's a good one. I mean, I think it's not exactly, they're not exactly linked, even though, it sounds like they're linked. So the real answer is obviously we could not have IPO'd from Lebanon. Honestly, it's an obvious question. It aches me to debate that. I think it's quite clear what is Beirut today. And, we can't expect investors to have a lot of, to support a company that has a banking system within a country that has a banking system that's clearly crumbled. So that does not make sense. So yes, we could not have IPO'd, but the Abu Dhabi thing, we started doing it, for a while. As we started planning it like a year ago, it just happened. Once we had the intention to do the SPAC, we knew that we could not have. When I said we needed to be ready and we need to have the discipline and the proper compliance, we had all of that. And also we were moving to Abu Dhabi. We probably would have delayed the IPO if we hadn't had the move to Abu Dhabi, but we already had done it. So yes, it's important because we needed investors to have, that to validate. And as Rabia just mentioned, a lot of the validation came in from Abu Dhabi investors who put in money in our pipe, which means in our IPO, just to simplify things. And we'd love to have in a parallel universe to have went public from Lebanon. Maybe there will be another company that's going to go public from Lebanon. Remember that Anghami is the second Arab company that have IPO'd on the NASDAQ. The first one is Aramex 27 years ago, right? Honestly, that's a freaking long time. Sorry for the word, right? So I hope we're going to have more Arab companies and maybe another Lebanese company going live. I don't think it's going to be from Beirut anytime soon, but I'd love to have that.
But our commitment to Lebanon will continue, especially
there's
on
a question. Well, I did say that we're not leaving Beirut. There's always going to be an office in Beirut, and we're going to grow and we're going to invest more. We're not leaving. But yes, our HQ moving simply.
Yeah, it's very important to note that as a holding, Anghami is incorporated in the Cayman Islands. So Beirut was a subsidiary. We also have a subsidiary in Dubai. We all have a subsidiary in Cairo, in Saudi. So it's not that we're very exposed to the Lebanon kind of issues, but we have, of course, we're Lebanese, and we have the majority of our employees are Lebanese, but technically we're not, a Lebanese kind of company, because we've always from day one incorporated the company in a way that is regional. But again, I mean, as a platform, we believe that Abu Dhabi as an economy, as an ecosystem, is more suitable for, IPOing. So that's among the reasons why we moved our headquarters to Abu Dhabi. But Beirut's going to remain in our hearts, and we're Lebanese at the heart. And as we always said, our Lebanon office is going to remain, and we're recruiting there, and it's going to, and we love the talent in Lebanon, and the especially in media. I mean, if you look at the whole region, the most successful people in media are Lebanese. So this is an asset. But as a platform and as ecosystem, we believe that Abu Dhabi is much more suitable for our chapter 2.
Awesome, thank you. I'm seeing things that we have 16 questions, so you need to go a little faster with them. Okay, and I see if some of the questions you have answered them already, I'll just skip them. So second question from Abdullah. Massive congrats, guys. Been following you and Anghami for a long time. Very happy to see what you've achieved so far through this route to NASDAQ. Would love to hear from you about the tech build innovation developed within Anghami that contributed to making you a market leader. I think we actually already covered the.
We did cover
anything
that
else you want to quickly add, Eli?
No, I think honestly there will be a lot more coming up, because that's what we disclosed. In terms of publicly, I think we're going to be investing much more. Not I think, I know we're going to be investing much more and creating something different. But so far, it's very important that we've innovated. We created a lot of things that are unique for emerging markets. But we did all of that with a small investment of 26 over the past 9 years. Just imagine what we're going to do with what we have right now.
Yes, exactly. Awesome. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to be fast in terms of answering Gus, because he asked 3 questions. Two, and they're all linked somehow. Yes, we believe there will be much more new ways of doing money, providing revenue for artists. And I highlighted a bit of how that was going to be on Anghami, because we're trying to create something called live radio, which enables people to create kind of Patreon style for artists. If you want to create your own club with artists, that is part of what live radio will do. It's going to be much more than that. But we want to provide more opportunities for artists to generate revenue from directly from their fans. So basically, whether it is by creating concerts, whether it is by supporting them because they're creating new content, or maybe a new playlist, or they're talking, or part of a club, you can support that. So we're creating a third line of revenue for Anghami, because right now Anghami generates revenue from premium subscription on advertising. But the third line is mostly for artists, whereby we're going to be pumping in money directly to artists and taking a small share, which is again a different type of generating revenue for the content creators, which is not the common one in other streaming services. Some of it might be innovations that we will try and we will test, will maybe something like NFTs and others, which we believe is, if people hold value to virtual items, while the old crop of people think that only physical has value, I think obviously, since our audience is a lot of early adopters, that makes sense for us to do something around that aspect. We'll see what, I don't want to disclose more, but obviously we'll be creating much more on that.
Okay. Sounds good. I'm seeing just like a quick question, 2 questions from Roland, and maybe we did not clarify well, so I want to make sure we do it. You mentioned that IPO is in June. Can you clarify that ANGH will be trading in June, or can we start buying the IPO in June?
Eddie?
Yeah, Rabia, go ahead. You like this stuff.
Abdo and I, yeah. So our SPAC partner is a company called Vistas Media Acquisition Company. Their ticker is VMAC, VMAC. It trades on NASDAQ. The SPAC was actually IPO'd in August 2020. And if people want to invest and get some exposure pre the merger, it can be done currently by acquiring VMAC, VMAC. Now, this is a volatile, small technology company. If you want to show support, great. The stock is trading at $10, which is the money covered by the initial subscription in the trust as part of the SPAC. We would love to get some support, but this is not a retirement stock yet. It'll be pretty volatile. We're going to close the transaction hopefully end of May, which means the SPAC shareholders are going to vote on the merger, and then 2 weeks later the company will trade under ANGH, because it's a reverse merger of Anghami into the SPAC, and the SPAC will disappear and the surviving entity will be Anghami.
Sounds good. Abdo, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, it is because it's a public situation. Please don't be too aggressive with the team here, with Rabia, Ali, and Eddie. There are laws and regulations, and they have to obey with them. So just be patient with them in this regard.
I want to answer Mr. Hossama Hassanain. I did not notice him. Happy to see you here. I think Apple Music, or there are other music competitors, Apple Music, Spotify, Deezer, whatever, everybody is in the region. We still have per market study over close to 60% market share. So still significant, still leading by far combined with everybody else. So yeah, all of them are competitors. But for us, as I said earlier, piracy is a competitor. At the same time, audio attention is a competitor. Anything that competes with the ear eventually is a competitor for me. That's why we're really doing much more than music. And this is part what Eddie mentioned in terms of media. We're trying to do much more because as Eddie mentioned, radio is the original way that we all experience music. And in radio, we experience music as well as interviews, talk shows, what right now is called podcasts. But at the end, this is an audio show, right? I mean, all of that is competing. I think you've seen Spotify investing a lot in non-music content. We're doing the same thing, but first we're creating a platform. The platform will allow anybody to create a podcast or what we call an audio show or what we call a radio, because those are going to be radio shows that you can tune in, whereby you can listen to shows, but you can listen to music also, which ends up being like a radio, because I can actually have my radio show, which is pure music. I can talk about music and propose music like I'm a DJ, but I can have much more audio shows, which are interviews and all of that. So yes, I think someone else asked that. We're going to be investing much more to become a media, which music is our core, but at the end, we're media, so we're not just music.
Awesome, thank you, Eli. A question from Ren around what are you doing differently to promote artists in the US versus the Gulf? It seems like now you have to serve more than one market.
Yeah.
We can't say that
question.
we're promoting artists in the US today. I mean,
from the US, maybe.
From the US, yeah, but I mean, our focus is still MENA now, and the way we work with them is being close to them, is like, understanding what they want, how we can help them, how we can push them further, how we can, bring them with other artists and create something that can be more meaningful, putting them with the right, team and expose them to the right audiences so they can grow, and provide them with tools so that they can expand and grow their audiences. And we also help them into production. We produce content, and whenever we have content production, be it for us or for a brand, we most of the time include artists that are up and coming artists to be part of these. So that's mainly how we support them. And moving forward, we want to expand this to the territories that we work that we'll be opening to, and hopefully we can make an impact into growing more local artists and up and coming artists and bring them globally. And we're seeing this happening today. We see artists that started very small on our platform and now they're becoming big stars. So this is an opportunity for every artist who believe or who has the potential to reach bigger audiences. They have a platform now. It's up to them to really make sure they reach out, they use our tools and our channels to expand, and they need to have the the talent, because not every artist has the right ingredients to break and to grow beyond the potential they have.
So summary, we invest with artists, we help them produce. No other music streaming service really has a plan to do that for the Arabic world. So that's very important for us.
Awesome. So from a question from Elio Khattar.
I'll answer that because it's going to be fast. Thank you, Elio. I know he supports us for a long time. We'd love to contribute to open source project and open source a lot of work that we've done. Because we are a small team, as I highlighted earlier, we couldn't afford maintaining open source project, because it's not about making a GitHub project public. It's about maintaining it, documenting it, and being able to support the pull request and everything around it. We could not do it by being focused at the same time and building that many platforms. I mean, for summary, we have an iOS app, Android app, web app, PWA app, desktop app, a TV app, Apple TV, Android TV, Samsung TV, whatever, PlayStation, Xbox, Apple Watch, Android Wear, whatever, and a lot of platforms, as I mentioned, for brands, for artists, and for artists have also apps and all. We created a lot of apps with a small team, and we had to build our own things. because we could not just afford to, take SaaS service after others. And that created a lot of great projects for us. We hope to open source them one day, but we're really growing the team to be able to afford to open source. And it makes a lot of sense. Thank you for the question.
Awesome.
And if, we're recruiting a lot, as I said earlier, whether engineering or in other than that, feel free to connect later if you would love. I'll write my email on, for everyone if you want to connect with me.
Thank you so much, Ali. Cool. Maybe like a few more questions before we conclude. Like a question from Dani Abu Ghaida. Can you shed light on your view with respect to the hype surrounding NFTs, and what do you see it as an impact on the music industry trend? Maybe Ali and also Abdo.
Everything starts as hype. That does not mean that a lot of it makes sense, and part of it is overhyped right now. But as I hinted to that before, we might think that a CD and or a vinyl makes a lot of sense, and people buy vinyls at extremely high prices and probably not listen to them for them not to get scratched. And they believe that holds a big value. Some have books that have just the signature of the author on it, and it has value. It has 10 times more value because of the signature. So just imagine how things are if it's just digital and the cryptographic signature of the author or the artist is attached to it. That might make sense to you or not, but it's just for the right audience. The right audience right now does not care about a book that have a signing on, but cares about a virtual object that have a cryptographic signature. So again, it will have value, it will make sense, probably not in the original hype cycle as it is right now, but I'm sure we're going to contribute to that. I'm sure the music industry is going to have to do something different because, at the end, it makes sense for the artist, and the artist is the one that created the music. We just have to adapt to all of that. Thanks for the question.
Thank you. Abdo, anything else you want to add on this question?
You mean? No, nothing from my end.
Sounds good. Let's do maybe a couple of more questions, then we can conclude. Question from Joseph: do you encourage Lebanese entrepreneurs in the diaspora to go back to Lebanon and build their tech companies from there?
I mean, I would be quite hypocrite by saying that, and at the same time we're moving. So I can't particularly say that, but I can say yes, we need to invest in the university system in Lebanon first, for to create much more R&D, and eventually that R&D will allow everything else to happen. And I want to invest in the people in Lebanon. Moving back to Lebanon right now, I don't know. I can't answer that honestly. It doesn't make sense to me, obviously.
Sounds good, yeah. But one thing actually that you guys mentioned before is content production is very big in Lebanon as well as in Egypt. So this can be also another way for.
Yeah, there's tremendous talent in Lebanon, especially creativity. Creative people in Lebanon are always outstanding. And now if you look at the cost, it's cheaper now to produce and create content. So definitely this is an opportunity. Now, whether moving or starting up something in Lebanon depends on the business plan, on the company or whatever the project is. But clearly producing content in Lebanon now is definitely worth it because of the talent and because of the cost. It's cheaper now to produce at the same quality.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think we are good to conclude the session. I was going to ask Abdo, the chairman of Lebanon, to help us conclude this great panel.
Thank you, Hala, for doing and facilitating the panel. Really appreciate what you did for us. I would like, on behalf of LabNet, to thank Eli, Adi, and Rabia for being present with us and to tell us the Anghami story. That this is a perfect example of Lebanese ingenuity, Lebanese innovation, and more importantly, also Lebanese accomplishments. So we really thank you. And congratulations. And I know it's the beginning of the journey, so good luck, and we'll be behind you also. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Don't forget the 2nd or 3rd week of June if you want to support Anghami as well once they go IPO. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
everyone for the support.
Thank you, Hala.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Everyone.